Hi, my name is Megan Coon with Powerhouse Real Estate, and you've probably seen all the real estate shows on TV. They're super glamorous, and that is not always the case in the real estate industry. Today, I want to share some of the craziest things I witnessed in my career, and so you can have a good laugh with me about some of the behind the scenes that happen to a real estate agent. I once had a buyer that was looking for a home in the Ogden area. He was a first-time home buyer. His price range was pretty low, and so we were looking at some, not so great places that he was hoping to make some improvements on, and so that he could build some equity to then move on to a more permanent home. Now, at the time, I happened to be pregnant with my third kid, and we walk into this home, and I was just floored at the condition of this home. There were bugs everywhere. The kitchen counter, all throughout the floor, the whole house. There were just little bugs all over the place. There was a smell. Oh my goodness, the smell as we walked into that, which is why me being pregnant is relevant, right? No pregnant person should have to smell those kinds of things. So as we're walking through this home, I'm holding myself together as best I can through this smell, and we see these adult diapers throughout the walls. It was the grossest home I have ever shown. It was awful. And I eventually had to just excuse myself outside to have a little bit of fresh air from the situation, but I have never experienced that before. I couldn't believe that the condition of the home stayed that way to go on the market. It should have been cleaned up. It should have been at least the garbage removed, and a little bit of cleaning would have gone a really long way in a home like that. Needless to say, he did not purchase this home. And as we got further into the process, he understood how rare a sighting like that was. And even to this day, it is the grossest home I've ever shown, and I cannot believe the condition it was in. So if you're looking to sell a home, whether it's your own or somebody that you cared for, please make sure that at least the diapers are thrown away, because, man, I hope I never have to go to that again. It's always a little bit strange walking into somebody's home, especially if you are a first-time buyer. You've never done this before. As an agent, we get a little bit accustomed to it. I'm pretty used to walking up, knocking on the door, letting myself in, and then wandering around this empty home. Now, on one occasion, we walked into the home, I knocked on the door, we went in, and we were scheduled for the showing. We walked through the home, the upstairs, everything looked great. It was a pretty normal home. It was picked up, but like they were expecting us to come through. Now, we get to the basement and the bedroom doors were closed, and it's always a little bit weird to open a bedroom door. So you're always a little bit slowly opening the door. As I slowly open the door, somebody flies out of this bed, and I screamed so loud, and this person did not expect us to come. It was just like a teenager sleeping on his bed with some stranger walking into his room that he wasn't expecting. It was very strange and very uncomfortable for me, and my poor buyers were pretty much traumatized by the situation. And we apologized 100 times and let them know we can leave. He ran out the door, the front door, just left. Didn't even really say anything, just left. So we quickly finished looking through the basement, let ourselves out, and I don't even know where the kid went. It was very strange. But not the strangest thing I've ever seen in a showing, but for sure one of the stranger moments and more uncomfortable moments with some of my buyers. One of my very first homes that I ever walked through with a buyer was in Syracuse, Utah. Pretty normal area. Walk through the home, we go in. I was still a little bit hesitant to walk into a stranger's home, so we go in and we're creeping around a little bit, trying to let ourselves through, and we walk into the unfinished basement, and you really never know what you're going to find in an unfinished basement. Now, with the experience that I have and the amount of homes I've shown, I'm not really shocked anymore what I see in the basements, but in this particular one, it was one of the very first homes I ever had walked through. So there was a giant Grim Reaper Halloween decoration just sitting at the bottom of the stairs, which I think was put there on purpose, honestly. But it scared me to death. I really thought somebody was probably inside of it because it was like a full size, taller than me. And it was super strange to walk through that basement and know that at any moment someone might jump out, which would actually be hilarious. I would actually love to film that and see somebody jump out at somebody walking through a home from a Grim Reaper costume. But Then it got weirder. We walked through the basement. To the other side of the basement, there was a whole setup for a man cave with including a stripper pole, which was great. I mean, it was a great setup for sure, but a little strange to walk through and see. I probably would have taken that down if I was the seller. It was not a permanent thing. It was very temporary. So it probably should have been taken down. I've actually probably seen those in about 10 homes that I've ever shown, stripper poles. Strange, right? But not the strangest thing I've seen again, but definitely a weird experience walking through a basement and seeing a Grim Reaper and a stripper pole in the same room. One thing about being a real estate agent is that we have to be available when our clients are available to walk through homes. Not a lot of people are able to take work off to go and check out a new home. And so when they're off work, I have to be available to go and show them the homes that they want to see. So on this particular occasion, we were driving up to Logan from the Ogden area to show them a couple of homes that they might like up in Logan. So we had driven up there. I had actually sent them one also in West Haven the same day that I thought they might really like, but they were kind of looking all over the place. We were still trying to narrow down a location. When we finished our showings up in Logan, they didn't really like them, so they decided that they might want to see this new home down in West Haven. Now, at this time, it was already about 8 o'clock. It was getting dark, and it was pretty late, but the home that I had sent them in West Haven was a new build, so it was vacant and available. So I said, oh, let's just go see it while we're out, then we don't have to go out again tomorrow. And so we drove down. By the time we got to the West Haven home, it was pitch black dark. And it's always a little bit hard to look at homes when it's dark. Obviously, you can't see very much. And in new construction, we aren't sure, what we're gonna get as far as utilities. So I called the agent on the way down and she said, oh, unfortunately, the electrical isn't done in that home, so you'll just have to use your flashlights if you wanna look at it. So we're walking around the home with our flashlights, trying to get a good look, really, really difficult. When I see that the light fixtures are in and there's actual light switches on the walls, which usually means that the electrical is done. So after about 15 minutes of wandering around this home, we finally push one of the light switches and all the lights turn on in the whole house. It was pretty funny. We then looked through the home. At this time, it was like 9:30, almost 10 o'clock. They actually ended up buying this home that I showed them so late at night in the dark. And that was one of the funnier moments. You just never know when you're gonna find the perfect home.